Unfortunately, I could not make it to the event, the Moto Razr event. I saw, a lot of people were there. It was dimly lit. It was Blade Runner-esque. It was futuristic. Things were folding, Will. Phones were folding, Will.
We've seen that before.
As they would in 2019, 2020.
Yes.
And honestly, I was kind of impressed with what I saw from the event, even though I wasn't there.
Right.
I know you're in contact. You're in touch with all these people.
Yeah.
You were a bit upset at one point.
Yeah.
You said, hey, man, why can't I catch an email from Moto in 2019? I'm Willie Doo right now.
Motorola. Give me a chance here. Come on.
He's like, do you know who I am? I'm Willie Doo in 2019. And I was like, Will, you don't have to put in the 2019 part.
I'm saying that in the washroom. Just demanding it.
Yeah. I'm like, Will, it doesn't work if you say it in the mirror.
Jack's like, what's going on?
You got to say it in real. You can't say it in the Willie Doo in 2019. Moto who?
I pitch a flag.
What's on the flag, Will?
Willie Doo 2019.
Oh, okay. All right. You're campaigning.
Yeah.
I think you get some votes as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to get one of these things in studio and obviously examine it. We're going to touch it as you would do with a smartphone that folds. But we caught a glimpse from the other footage that's out there. And I've read a number of articles as well. And probably the most striking thing, the standout thing to me is the hinge. As it would be with any folding device, it's the area that people were incredibly skeptical about with the Galaxy Fold. People are still skeptical in terms of the Mate X, which I'm going to be talking about a little bit more as this show progresses. But Motorola kind of has a different approach to it, where the display, it kind of shifts a bit inside of the housing. And this was shown off in a couple of different visuals, where at the chin of the device, it actually slides up and down a little bit. It almost floats inside of the chassis. And because of this, from all the footage I've seen, it appears to have the least visible crease in it compared to the other devices that are out there. Now, also because it's folding in a portrait configuration, the actual size of the potential crease is diminished as well, because of course the others, they fold on the other axis and you end up with there's a bigger folded portion. Now, I have the same durability issues and durability questions that everyone else does in the folding universe, particularly after what happened with the Galaxy Fold. This is a big question people have. All these folding devices have the premium price tag to go with them. This one obviously has its very own approach in the portrait style with the inspiration from the original Razr, but it's still coming at a price tag $1,500 or around there, somewhere in that region, which is fully premium status. Mm-hmm. And so because it's an investment for people, you gotta understand where they're coming from with the apprehension in relationship to durability. So the reason the Hinge specifically stood out to me here, alongside their implementation of that hinge, they're also claiming, at least during the first FCC analysis, there was an IP rating for this device, which is very strange. And if it comes through on the final version of the device, not just the prototype, it would be the very first folding phone to have any kind of IP designation. And in fact, in the FCC document, it's stated as IP68, water resistant, in a folding device. Now, keep in mind, that initial documentation was, like I said, for the prototype. And we don't have official word on it yet. But what this could indicate for us for the Razr 2019, if it does end up with this designation, that has major implications for durability as a whole, not just water resistance, because it would mean the seals around the mechanism and all this would just have to be a different caliber than what we've seen from the devices that weren't approaching this designation. That might not hold true for the eventual release, the retail version of the device. Maybe they drop the certification, the testing, the IP rating. That might happen. But it's looking like a very exciting device nevertheless. It is, in my opinion, the most futuristic looking phone to date.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You know, I'm a future guy. I've been one.
Yes.
We come on here, we talk about the future a lot. It's the nature of being a technology fan. You imagine, you get that science fiction mentality. You remember your exposure to the gadgetry of fiction, and you see it come into reality. Mm-hmm. And there's something about it, something exciting.
Yes.
And this is one of those moments we need to be aware, because those moments you can go, there can be gaps between those moments. This is one of those moments for me. I love the fact that it has the throwback aspect to it as well. If you were a Razr owner, I was. It's an homage. It's the future. It's also the past. The package, when it's folded up, there's actually a reason for the folding because it gets so much smaller. I like the fact that the display is well protected in the clamshell, because you have to believe that's the most sensitive component, as we've seen in devices up until this point. Look at the fit in the hand and the phone calls that no one has anymore. No one even phoning anyone, but you could have phone calls if you wanted to. The other interesting tidbit, it's a dual battery setup in there, which is kind of interesting. They've had to split the battery setup in there to allow for the folding the way that they're doing it. I don't imagine it's going to have tremendous battery life, though. I actually, as much as I'm saying positive things about it here, as much as I'm talking about how futuristic it is and inspirational and exciting, there's going to be some drawbacks because of this design. We've got these slabs in our pockets, and they've been refined over a period of years here. And because they're essentially just rectangles, there isn't the same design complexity in something that moves and has hinges and is thin and is folded and is unfolded. So I don't think it's going to be the best at anything. You're going to probably give something up in camera performance. You're going to give something up in terms of battery life. You're going to give something up in terms of just overall performance, because it's not even got the top-end Snapdragon in it. You might give something up from a multimedia perspective. I've yet to hear the speakers. We'll see how that goes. The screen is obviously an unusual aspect ratio for productivity. You'll give something up in that department. But what you don't give up is excitement, because my goodness, you pull this baby out 2049. Forget 2019. Will he do 2049? And then people picking up your phone calls for once. And it's not just you in the mirror anymore. People are going to take note. You just got to get Moto on the phone first to rectify the situation. So Moto, if you're watching this, Willie Do, he's upset. I never saw him like this before.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's kind of made for a scary place around here. So if we can get this sorted out, we can get back to work. I can enjoy my coffee and not have to cut the tension.
Yeah, I don't want to mess around.
I mean, it's a very dangerous place
Not a good
currently. So anyhow, yeah, we'll get a video on it soon. It's cool. There's also a retro mode, Will. I don't know if you saw that. You can actually make the new Razr look like the old Razr. And that's a real show-off tactic right there.
Oh, yeah.
If you pull that one off. So it'll give you the actual number pad, and it'll make the display look like it's just in the top portion. This to me is probably now my most anticipated phone. But when does it actually come out? Can we get a date on that? When will it actually wait, forget about that, Will. When do you think right now we're going to have it in studio? Based on your communications and your demands and the mirror talk. Go on the record right now on the airwaves. When is this thing going to be in studio? Make a prediction for the people. Today is November 18th when we're filming this.
I'm pretty confident in 2 weeks.
He's going 2 weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, he's getting in the studio in 2 weeks.
That
Will
puts
he
a
do?
fire on me, and I don't mind that.
Where does it put the fire? Well,
Oh, you don't want to know.
puts it on your seat. That's a fiery seat now.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, he's on the record. Very exciting. All right, so now it's my most anticipated device. See, it's not coming out till January. 2 weeks is ambitious. In the studio, they're gonna have to accompany it if they bring it.
Yeah, we're not gonna keep it. Probably.
Okay. Wow, this is nuts. All right, Will's making major claims right now.
Yes.
Because January 2020 is the actual expected release. Amazing, Will. What a time. Moto Razr here first on Unbox Therapy. Unboxed in 2 weeks. Will he do? Went on the record. Hold him accountable.